All right. Here we are. We sitting in the tundra in the wilderness of Alaska. I've got Justin Mueller here with me and Michael Paladino. We just flew in for day one of our 9-day caribou hunt, hopefully even shorter.
Ideally, it'd be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, but nonetheless gonna enjoy the whole thing.
Not trying to get home early, just
Yeah.
2 bulls down means done.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I can't believe it's actually here that it came to fruition.
Long time, a lot of troubles just was past leading up, and man, it was getting nerve-wracking, so I'm finally glad we're here.
Yeah, for a while there, it wasn't really looking too good. You
Yeah.
know, and everything started kind of going south for a little bit there with all the travel arrangements due to COVID and everything. But we're here now, so we can forget about all that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly. That's what I kept saying through the whole thing is like just once we're there, we can forget about everything else going on in the world and just enjoy it.
It's very easy out here. You know, no cell phone service is one thing, but I don't know how many miles, probably 80 miles north of any livelihood of human, so should be good.
Yeah, as we say that, I hear a plane flying.
Yeah. All of us hunters are in the same boat. I mean, there's hunters 5 miles that way probably, so, but other than that,
Yeah.
no TV, no news, no.
Yeah, you're not hearing traffic other than planes coming back and forth.
No social
Cool.
media. We got our Crocs on at camp. I mean, what else could you want? Now we got it on video here.
Crocs and socks.
Crocs
Yeah.
and socks. We're able to let her rip, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess I want to start this out by kind of going into background with Michael and I and how this hunt came to be. I think giving a little background, I've talked about it before, but not kind of all inclusively, one place. So Michael, kind of give a little your kind of thought process and how this hunt came to be.
So it actually started, I think something that we talked about for a while was getting to Alaska to hunt. Your brother Kurt went to Alaska and came back always showing us pictures, and he's worked up here a couple times. It was always just something that I've wanted to do. I grew up reading adventure books, and something I just always said I wanted to do is go to Alaska and hunt. And hunt would be the goal there. So about 2 years ago, we started tossing around the idea of a moose hunt, and it was really heading down the road for a moose hunt. And we had 4 guys, so we thought it'd be a great hunt for the 4 of us. And then weddings happen, marriages happen, school happens, and work happens, and now it turned to Beau and I on this hunt, and we switched it to caribou because of logistics of the just the whole travel logistics wrapped around a moose, packing it, butchering it, all those things just around it with 2 guys. So then we did a lot of research and kind of got ourselves with caribou and let it roll from there. But about a year and a half ago is where we decided we need to start doing research on caribou.
Well, yeah, and so to give a little background, I came to Alaska in 2018 for the Heather's Choice Company retreat.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to get back here to hunt. And you were like, you've been wanting to do it. We talked about it prior to that. And then my brother had been here, all this stuff. Like, we need to go to Alaska. And moose hunting was always our dream to be able to do that. Like you said, we had 4 guys. So it was Michael and myself, and then Maven Optics, who's on the Idaho elk hunt last year, and my brother, Kurt Martonik. Well, Kurt is in the middle of gunsmithing school and kind of moving for a new job and all this other stuff. So he's like, hey, I can't do it. Understandably, he's like, we'll do it at some point. And then Mason happened to do something with work, where he couldn't get off of work to be able to do it this time. So he ended up going on a mule deer hunt. Just last week, he killed his first high country mule deer.
Velvet muley 4x4.
So that's really cool. But anyways, so then we were still kind of looking at a moose hunt between the 2 of us, but understood that we didn't know. And you had done a ton of reaching out to transporters to do it, DIY style, and no one even wanted to give, even the 4 of us, no one wanted to give us a chance.
We had trouble with getting, and we were 2 years looking. It's not like we were trying to do it for next year. We were saying 2 years, 3 years, and people didn't really take us serious so much. They were busy. It was a busy time of the year, I'm sure. yada yada, all that. But I wasn't getting traction. I did get traction with 2 companies, and they're very helpful. One was a draw unit, so then you had to put that in, and it just was a lot of. The logistics of it just kept piling up, and it was just too much for me to do for when we wanted to do it. So we're a year and a half out, and we're like, we got to cut bait and let's switch to a caribou hunt. And you did a little bit of work from there and got in touch with some.
Yeah, and because like I said, you did a lot of that background information, and even me talking to connections I knew that either lived here or hunted here, and they're like, man, you should really look into blacktail or caribou.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got in touch with Kyle Hanson from Outdoors International, that's like a hunting consultant company. I did a podcast with Kyle prior on traveling with weapons and everything, and Kyle was like, man, you should really look into unguided caribou. And up north of the Arctic Circle, kind of getting into some really cool stuff. And I'm like, we talked about it, and it kind of fit our goals of doing that, and it was a lot more logistically friendly and easier on the wallet to be able to plan that in a shorter amount of time. So it was in 2019, late 2019, we made the decision, and then we ended up booking through Outdoors International for an unguided caribou hunt, and in December, I think, is when we signed the paperwork there.
Yeah, it was just shortly before Christmas, if I remember, which would have been like the year prior at that time. We all got together to do our moose logistics decision. So it was like almost a year later we signed for a caribou hunt. And the one thing I really was kind of hopeful for was a little bit, I don't want to say higher elevation, but more of a mountain style caribou hunt. I didn't really want to be in swamp creek bottoms, not so much swamp bottoms like you do for moose, but the tundra, the true tundra. So when I heard that there's options for, mountain caribou, a little bit higher, like rugged caribou hunts, that was going to be cool.
Yeah, and it's still like, so where we're at, and it's tough to see probably in this video, but you'll see in other video formats, but it is, we're in kind of the tundra, but we're in the mountains too. We're kind of the foothills. I don't know if it's called the foothills, but something similar to that. And we got terrain. We can move around. We can see them coming through. We got giant rock cliffs. We got everything. I mean, this is beautiful.
We got just behind here is 2 miles with a really nice saddle. You can see 2 miles back here, about 1,200 feet elevation gain just to this saddle. Up over here is probably another 1,800 foot elevation gain. And you got some terrain here, so you can actually spot stock, glass. And it's going to be unique. It'll be pretty cool.
So that was kind of how this, came to be, essentially. And looking at the logistics, like I said, Kyle helped out with a ton of that, got everything figured out. And using somebody like Kyle from Outdoors International, like, it didn't cost us any more than if we were to book through the charter service ourselves.
Even if it did, I think they could say, like, they could get $100 for everyone. Yeah. And it would be okay, because we did nothing. We got a weekly or so, maybe not weekly, but I got weekly through you. But, hey, this is where we're at. This is what's going on. Make sure you check. Here's a checkbox. Achieve this, get your airplane ticket now. Book your hotels. They're going to go quick. Like the itemized list of this is what you need to be doing from the our plane company, and then somebody just checking in every once in a while made it so easy. Until COVID, but
and then even with like things like tips Kyle gave about getting an Alaskan Airlines credit card, I got that. So I got my plane tickets here and back. My commercial flights that would normally be about $900. I got that for free from opening this credit card. I think I had to spend $2,000 in 90 days. Got it free. Then I got Justin and Michael's plane tickets for half off.
Yeah, I mean,
which is and it cost me $75 for the credit card. That was it. And then I had to spend the money on it, which I just did it for my business expenses, and other people could do it to pay their bills or whatever it is. And you have it's insane the money we saved right there.
It's a credit card, so you just can't fall in the trap of opening credit cards for everything. But when you're talking $500 day one, you can literally make a purchase and save $500. Just by spending your limit to get your points.
Well, I put the down payment for this hunt on it.
That's right.
And that's what came, and so to just throw numbers out, so anybody looking to plan something like this, if you wanted to rent the camp and food from the transporter, I think it was for this year somewhere around $4,100.
$4,150, I think, was the number. I was thinking about it, and it might have went up a little bit for next year. I remember seeing online it was like almost 10% more.
Yeah.
As you looked out year to year, but it's reasonable.
Yeah, and then for us, we decided we already had all the camp gear from hunting elk and doing things like that, and wanted to kind of take our own food. So we cut almost $600. I think it was $600 off just by bringing our own stuff. Which,
per person.
Yeah, per person.
Yep.
Which, don't get me wrong, there's logistics that come with that. You have to pay for more baggage fees, other stuff. Or if you're like Michael, who
I was waiting for this to come up.
Yeah, so we'll jump into the whole Michael's baggage situation here in a second. But anyways, you can save some money that way. So essentially, to jump kind of to the conclusion here, we think with even bringing our meat back, which we're able to do on the plane, we're able to do it as checked baggage. Alaska Airlines caters to hunters very well, and our head, so we don't have to ship anything back. Can bring all that back. Plane tickets, hotels, food, everything under $5,000 to be able to go to middle of nowhere, Alaska.
You can definitely even save some more money. I mean, you're saying $5,000, and we are doing things to save money, but we also did a couple things to make it a little bit easier on ourselves.
Yeah.
So if you want to do bare bones, you can do this for $42, $43, $44 if you want to just go crazy crunching. Or you can save yourself and go through somebody to fly you in and be, a little bit next step for $800 or $900 more dollars. It's really not that much more to do what, my opinion, the true caribou experience is a super cub in and those things like that. It's not that much more money.
So, all right, let's jump into the baggage situation. So this is funny. So with most commercial airlines, there's, for your checked baggage, a 50-pound limit is what it is before you get oversized costs. So I got my gun case packed with a gun and all this gear, 50 pounds on the nose. Got my other checked bag, 50 pounds on the nose. Michael texts me, I couldn't fit the tent. I was like, man, that's another like 9 pounds. Michael's like, I got room.
Plenty.
I got plenty of space. I'm under with all my gear. I'm like, wow, he must be really going minimalist. And so we get to the airport, he's running it. He's like, yeah, we're good. We threw it on there. We took it in to get the checked baggage and threw it on the scale ahead of time. Michael's bag came in at 62 pounds.
It's supposed to be 50. Like, I weighed it and it said 50 pounds. Somehow. Miraculous 12.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was funny as hell. And that's the thing with planning something like this. Logistics are gonna completely screw you.
You're gonna be overwhelmed. So
you're gonna be overwhelmed. You got to let it roll off your shoulders, and also I would recommend not having the exact amount you need for the trip, just in case emergencies happen, or there's gonna be little things that might.
$60 right there.
Yeah, an extra $60, and.
But it was funny.
Yeah, it was actually really funny.
Man, I was laughing. I was like, Beau earlier said, man, this is heavy. I said, it says it's 50, and I have a scale.
Yeah.
I'm in the parking lot, and it says 50, so I still don't quite know how this happened. I think Amazon sold me a faulty scale, or my girlfriend got in there and messed with the settings or something to make it better. I don't know, but all I do know
turn it down 12 pounds.
Yeah, percentage. You got to think about that. She's half the size I am, so there's only 6 for her. No, but I swear that thing said 50. Everything I did, but it didn't. I mean, it was 62. And I paid, but then it went through. Everything was good, no issues. That extra 12 pounds, if I would have known I was going to pay for oversized baggage, I would have taken advantage of it.
Yeah.
I had more room. I could have been a little bit, done some things different. But that's live and learn. That's the next trip for sure. So
yeah, 100%. And also, just something to note with that Alaska Airlines credit card, I didn't even know this till I got to the airport and got my bags checked. It must have been something with me having that card that I got the first checked bag for you and I free.
Yeah.
And
I read that somewhere.
So I got that free, and the second one was $40. So we flew with all of our gear up there. Well, you got an additional 60, but essentially for $40, and which is incredible to be able to do that, to come on a hunt.
I mean, when you look around here, we got a heavy-duty tent over here.
Yeah.
We got tarps, tents, hunting bags, full spot and scopes, guns,
food, 10
Food
days
for
worth of food.
three people's food for 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days of food for 3 people. That stuff adds up quick for weight, but $80.
Yep. It's pretty incredible. So that was cool. But then we had an additional, and this is where, well, actually, let me step back before we get into the whole COVID-19 stuff, how Justin came into the picture. So Justin filmed the elk hunt last year, Synergy. Film turned out way beyond my expectations. And I wanted to work with Justin more and was trying to figure out a way financially to make that happen. And so he worked with me a little bit, and we came up back in May. I was like, dude, do you have this open in your schedule? He's like, Alaska, we're going to make that happen.
Yep.
So we just, made that happen, got you in, and to bring in, a spectator, essentially it's half the cost to come in, be able to fly him in is what they call a spectator fee, and be able to bring Justin along. Or if it's someone that's not even filming, you wanted to bring someone else in that wasn't going to hunt, it's, half the cost, which is pretty cool to be able to do that. And so Justin came in and to the picture here to put together another badass film. He keeps saying putting a lot of pressure on him because I keep telling everybody this thing's going to be absolutely epic. But
every time Beau talks about it, he's like, dude, this is going to be the sweetest thing ever. And I'm like, thanks.
Especially on a podcast that's going to be released like before the video's done. So we already know that people are going to hear about this.
Yeah.
And then they're going to watch it and be like,
just pure disappointment.
no, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
No, it's cool though. When you first told me about coming up here, and we kind of played around with the idea of me coming with, I was pretty stoked. And I mean, you can't not come on a trip like this.
Yeah.
I got a text from Justin. There's a chance I might be coming with. And like 10 minutes later, Beau calls me. He's like, I'm thinking about bringing Justin. I was like, oh, really? That sounds like a good idea. Yeah. Justin Nardy's like, I think I'm going to. I was like, heck yeah.
Well, that's what I told Beau. I was like, because he even said, he's like, yeah, I don't know how we're going to figure it all out with you getting up there and everything. And I was like, we'll figure it out. Let's just,
Well, and then you went, so Justin was on a mule deer hunt leading right up to this. And so with COVID-19, 2020's just been a complete fuckery from every angle.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To say the least.
Yeah. And so Alaska put in the regulations that we needed to have a negative COVID test taken and the results back within 72 hours of arrival in Alaska, which Justin was he was going to be in on a mule deer hunt up until a day before he left. So that he had to come out of the field to be able to drive 5.5 hours to the nearest city, get a test, send it in, and wait for his results. Michael and I weren't finding any test centers that could get it turned around in time for this like unrealistic expectation. And so we had to send in at-home kits that we found online, overnight ship them, all this stuff, which
that was
I had the issue with. I live in north central Pennsylvania and kind of in a small town, so there's not any, UPS stores anywhere there. And it was next day overnight air, and you had to ship it out that day you took the sample. So I found a place that said they would be able to, UPS would pick up every day. Like, okay. I take it there in the morning. I said to the guy, I was like, please make sure this goes out today. Like, this has to go out.
This is why
He's like, yeah, I got it. I was like, okay.
Just like that.
So I went to work all day, and I'm like, all right, we're good. Like, weight taken off his shoulders. I get home from work. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Check my UPS tracking. Never picked up. So I call over to the store. Hello, UPS come pick up my package today. What are you talking about? It's like the package I dropped off said it had to go out today. Oh, yeah, UPS never came today. It's like, I'm like, oh, my, I'm dying. So I called the UPS terminal, which is an hour away. Said, hey, did you go into the store today? They're like, oh, yeah, we were there twice. No one ever gave us anything. They're like, our last truck goes out for the overnight air in 55 minutes. Let's just put it this way. I didn't have enough time. So I was like, but I got to try. So I flew over to the store, picked up the package, drove it there at a moderate speed, and caught the guy as he's leaving the place in the truck. Gave it to him. I was like, is this going to go out today? he was obviously irritated at the end of the day anyways. Didn't really say much, just told me it was getting out.
Mhm.
So long story short,
Yeah.
or long story long, it got out, and everything ended up working out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we traveled up to Alaska, got in Anchorage Airport, and went through pretty seamlessly. It wasn't as crazy as we thought as far as the...
They did a good job making sure they had everybody's paperwork to an extent. There's no way you could bypass it. You had to do it. You had to show paperwork. Your option was, which they originally weren't going to give you an option, they did give you an out. They said you can spend $250 as a non-resident and take the test instantly and get a result. So it was a $250 test. So you had plan B if all else failed, but my opinion on the whole situation, I was not spend $250 on a test. No way. So I had to make sure plan A worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, honestly, that probably would have been the better option.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, but we didn't know about that.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
They changed it that week.
Yeah.
They were changing regulations almost daily.
Virtually.
And so that was the first step, okay?
And how you read it and where you read it. If you clicked on the main page on Alaska Airlines and then clicked into the link they gave you, it was contradicting information from the same website.
Everything across the United States from COVID-19 related stuff is contradicting.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyways, we just said we're going to, do this, and we're like, whatever, we brushed it off, and then flew into this remote village that we were going to. There's no roads going to this place. Flew in and got to the airport there. And they're like, oh, you got to provide proof of your COVID test again. We're like, no big deal.
Yeah, we were done.
Did that. And, Justin and I were sitting waiting for our baggage to come out. We look outside, and Michael's arms are flailing in the air with this lady talking. I'm like, oh, no.
We've been here 2 minutes.
We got to go. Michael's getting arrested. So we go outside, and Michael's arguing with the lady because technically that was day 4, which is outside of 72 hours. And they're saying that COVID test was not valid essentially anymore.
Because we took the test Monday night. It went out at 6 p.m. on Monday night. I took the test. Tuesday I went to work. Wednesday I flew. And now this is Thursday morning.
No, it was Friday morning. We flew Thursday.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Yep, I was wrong there. So now this is after the 72 hours, and they said, you need a test. I'm like, I'm not spending $250. Not happening. I just took this test. So...
We ended up going through the chain of command and trying to go, where's your manager or whatever, kept going up, and eventually kind of talked our way through it. And then to find out, we could have got an instant test. It was free at that place.
Free.
And we just assumed it was the $250.
It was everything.
But it wasn't Anchorage, though, so why would
and there was no information in this town anywhere online that told us that we were going to have to do this.
We were the first plane they did this.
Yeah.
They changed it
we were the very first
plane
plane that had this new procedure. And I don't think they realize that the rest of the state's charging you $250. Every other terminal's charging you $250 if you're a non-resident. Yeah. It says it on Alaska Airlines. It says it on Alaska's website. So I'm like, not happening. We're not spending $750. We're already here.
Yep.
So,
and the thing is, we tested negative the day before in Anchorage.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I know you can get it there, but it's like, I think we all kind of talked, in order for us to been able to get that test on time to get into the village, we'd have had to take 2 separate tests.
Yeah.
One to get to Anchorage and then one a day before.
Back-to-back days.
Yeah.
And if I would have known that, I would have done it.
Yeah.
Right? I would have done it.
Yeah, I would have complied and just went through it and whatever.
We did, though. We eventually did.
We got through it.
Yeah, we made it through, and we did what needed to happen. And then, so the air transporter that we were taking picked us up at the airport and took us to the hotel that we were staying in, and met up with a bunch of other group.
We met some cool people.
But
I really hope to see them.
That were all flying in today at the same time, same air charter. And we're like, let's have a couple beers. We're like, let's have a couple beers. Well, this village is not really these remote villages, everyone is, not everyone, a lot of people are alcoholics and have, there's not a whole lot going on in these places.
As far as work.
Work goes.
Yeah, there's not a lot of opportunities for careers.
Yeah.
You're not really advancing. There's no roads in, no roads out, so you're here. The winters in Alaska are known. So it leads to have a tendency of alcoholism in these small villages.
Yeah.
It's
so they
an
make
overall
it hard
pretty
to
rough
drink.
place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just from everything, from the infrastructure to the, some of the people to everything. It's just kind of a little bit of a rougher place. But
So we found a liquor store. Okay.
Which Beau did his research.
I knew that before we even got to Anchorage.
Address. They're open 3 to 9. That's all. And they said liquor store. It's controlled by the city, and it had the borough, and it had, they'd sell, hard liquor, wine, and beer. I'm like, okay, let's go get some beer. And these guys were like, yeah, let's go have some beers. And we couldn't drink in the hotel. That was illegal.
That was also a $250 fine.
Yeah, they like that number.
Yeah.
So they said we could drink across the street on the side of the ocean. So we're like, all right, let's do that. And we go up to the window, which there was a line of people waiting for the place to open.
Yeah.
Which locals
At 3 o'clock.
Yeah, they had
3
cones set up to make a line by the cones.
Correct.
Keep the 6 foot social distancing. Yep. So we show up and there's a box there, and you yell your order in the box, and they shove the beer out the other side. But that wasn't it. They're like, "Where's your permit?" Like, huh? You need a permit to drink.
Yeah.
So Michael volunteered. He's like, he's allowed 30 beers a day. Okay. So we're like
4 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
And a jug of alcohol.
A jug of alcohol.
Liquor.
So we had 7 guys there or something? 9 by the end
of
of it, but 7 of us that were there at that point. We're like, we'll just all split a 30 pack. Okay, that's fine. We'll have a few beers apiece. And so Michael filled out the form for all of us. They went deep to run a background check on you.
Yeah. My favorite part of the whole thing was Michael's kind of writing his stuff down. I look over at Beau, and from behind me, I hear Michael say, "Social Security number." I ain't put my Social Security number.
I was like, "They want my Social Security." He's like, "Well, just put your driver's license number." I'm like, "I don't even want to put that."
Yeah.
You can get my name and when my date of birth is. But I did have to fill out some more things. There's some questionnaire that I had to fill out.
And they came back with the background check in 16 seconds.
The door wasn't even closed yet. He caught it on the way back out. He's like, "Yeah, you passed."
I was like, "Where's the gun store? Because if that's a background check, I'm going to get one right now."
Yep.
Yeah, that was funny.
So we got our 30 pack of Bud Light for $70.
$70.19. Yeah. Oh, that was
We're like, oh my god. Anyway,
warm.
It was warm too. Yeah,
warm. It wasn't even refrigerated. So we're out there. We had some beers with these guys.
Back before. So I bought Bud Light, and they're like, it's $60. I'm like, oh my goodness, $60 for a 30 pack. I was like, well, okay, how about the six packs of Coors Light for $5 or out? I said, how about the 6? I went through all their specials. We don't have any of that.
Yeah, all the things they were advertising on the window.
Yeah. So I just got taken for a case of beer. But so anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so we drank with these guys, and we had a group from Colorado, we had a group from Wyoming,
Missouri.
We had those guys, and so we had that whole group together, and it was super cool just to talk to them, and they're all everyone's first time in Alaska hunting or caribou hunting. The guys from Missouri had hunted brown bear and moose before.
Correct, twice.
Yep. And so cool to hear the stories, and we're just all BSing like we've been friends forever. All age groups, Yeah,
it's from late 60s, I think.
Yeah.
From late
probably.
60s to, I think you were the youngest.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
For mid-20s to late 60s.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
that was such a cool addition to that day, right? Because we got into the hotel kind of early, and we kind of hit that point where it's like, well, now we just kind of have to kill the afternoon until we fly out in the morning, So I'm really, happy that we met up with those guys.
Good group of guys.
Oh, yeah, just sitting
Hilarious.
there, bullshitting all day, drinking some beers and
Yeah.
telling hunting stories, and it was cool.
Yeah, that part was and that's part of this whole experience that you can't put that into a contract, or you can't really explain that without, really experiencing it. And like we said, this town is, these Alaskan villages, they're rough from what we're used to as far as our standards of living is different.
I don't want to say, I've been to Nicaragua. I've been to poor countries, third world countries. And to come to something like this, and you really have to I don't want to say, it sets you to a point where this is still United States of America, and this is out there. This is the United States of America, and this is what you can still have.
Yep.
We're in United States. We're not in a third world country, and this is what's around. So it kind of makes you see things. I don't want to say see things different, because it's not like
but it just kind of opens your eyes.
Eye-opening.
It makes you appreciate the things you have that you can't take for granted.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly how to explain it too.
Yeah, just for an example, we saw a lot of people driving four-wheelers around town, instead of cars and trucks and stuff like that. Bikes and
Yeah, it was interesting, that's for sure. And So then, this
I
morning.
hope that one kid fixed his bike.
Yeah.
His chain popped out.
A little kid popped his chain coming by. Michael flipped it up, got the chain put back on. And
We rigged it up with fishing line and a bottle beer cap and got it going.
yeah.
Helped him out.
Yeah, that was cool. And so then, we got a good night's rest last night and woke up and got ready, headed to the, I guess, the
Air charter.
air charter place and got our planes, loaded up. And
So helpful and friendly and nice. Like, the lady there is just...
yeah, Megan and Brian were just both
Megan was making sure that we were set. This, like did a small checklist with us, went over just the regulations, even though you should know the regulations before you get here. She makes sure this is the regulations, this is what happens if this happens. So very helpful, and the pilots are professional, very good pilots. I mean, we had some good wins on the one part of it, and very professional. It was good.
Yeah, and so the way we flew in was there was two planes. All of us, so us three in the first pilot were in one plane.
Yeah, what type of plane was that?
It was a something 180.
Okay, Cessna 180?
Cessna 180,
Okay,
that's
Cessna
it.
180.
Cessna
Yep.
180. And so we were in that, and then we had a Super Cub, a modular Super Cub essentially is what they kind of explained it as, behind us with our gear.
Mm-hmm.
And they flew us to one spot. We landed more of a wide open kind of big basin, for lack of better terms. And then they puddle jumped each of us in
On the
to
Super
our
Cub.
final destination in the Super Cub,
Mm-hmm.
which, man, was that the coolest experience in both planes, the Cessna 180 and the Super Cub. In the Super Cub especially, like I'm sitting right behind the pilot. He's there in front of me. Basically, my knees are wrapped
Your
around
knees
him.
are touching the back of his seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're sitting on this little tin or this little aluminum seat.
And anybody that's been to Alaska and done like a moose hunt like this, it's nothing new to them. But if you haven't done it, to explain to what you're doing it's a little bit different, and it's such a cool experience. I feel like if you're ever in a position to even fly in one, you should do it, even if you're just going around at an airport.
Yeah.
And it was cool too because the windows were so wide on that Super Cub. You could just see everything out the sides,
Yeah.
and obviously it's Alaska. It's just beautiful country up here. So you're flying over mountains and tundras and rivers and everything. And
So I got fortunate because I wanted to come in first. That was one thing I just said. I said, if we get to fly individually, I would like to go in first and just get in there and have a little bit just the first guy on the field for no reason other than I just would like to see that. And I got fortunate. I got to fly around a little bit. Brian took me around, and we looked at some other hunters. And our plan A spot, it was too windy, so we ended up going with a plan B and landed us on this gravel bar, which is not much of anything.
Oh, I can't believe you can land a plane on this.
I mean,
know. When he was coming in, I was like, wait, we're landing right here. And then I saw you standing on the side watching us, and I was like, holy shit.
with the first
Yeah.
hump you hit, you get air again. And
Yeah.
then you come down, and you have to hammer the brakes because of the crick that you almost
Yeah.
get into.
It's a rock bar. It's a flat rock
Mhm.
bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of flat.
It's not a sandbar by any
No, yeah.
It is a rough rock bar.
Yeah.
But we made it.
Yeah, and perfectly. I mean, I felt super comfortable. Again,
Yeah.
both pilots are super professional. Brian's definitely really experienced, and the younger guy that we had too is awesome. And just like hearing the stories and talking to them, and they flew us in, and yeah. So after they dropped you off, and they dropped Justin off, then they dropped me off,
Yep.
and we come here, and there's like a deadhead caribou here, some different shed antlers
I
that
think 6 sheds and a
other
deadhead.
other hunters have probably gathered and packed here at the camp in the past. And
Yeah, so we just set up our fire ring here, got some rocks here kind of scattered around, got a little bit of wood here. I got our meat crib over there, 2 tents. And it was all pretty well organized, so somebody's been here and spent time here, but it's still extremely remote.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's obviously the most remote place I've ever been, and I'm sure with you guys,
Oh, yeah.
pretty similar too. It's just incredible, and so down on the rock bar, there's a little piece of sand.
Oh, yeah.
We found 0 caribou tracks yet, but we found a big grizzly track.
A pretty
wolf-
good-sized grizzly trap.
real
It was
nice
the size of
grizzly
my crock. I have a picture of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got a grizzly track, we got wolf tracks, and we got moose tracks. So caribou next, I'm sure. So
Hopefully.
yeah. So that's really cool. And then by the fire pit, you
Yep.
found, or was it you that found
Yeah.
an empty 10mm casing? We're like, whew, okay.
There's not too often you're shooting your 10 millimeter. If you're shooting for enjoyment, you usually shoot more than once.
Yeah.
And if you're shooting anything other than, well, caribou is a bow or rifle, so.
Speaking of
Yeah,
that,
it's right in camp.
I'm doing a check over my back, Grizzly watch.
The Grizzly watch.
Yeah, and what they've been having problems with grizzlies in
Yeah,
camp.
this year they said it's been bad.
Just this week, they had a grizzly come into one of the other hunters' camp and get in the tent, slobbering all over stuff
Yep.
while the hunters were gone.
Took their stuff out of their tent,
Yeah,
stealing meat, ate horns. They've been having trouble. So we got landed with no bear spray. None.
Yeah.
Like, completely forgot to bring bear spray. We didn't, by any means. We had it in the plane. It's just we forgot to get it out of the plane.
yeah,
Like, they gave us bear spray, and we just never took it out of the plane.
yep.
So they came back and made a special trip just to bring us bear spray.
Yeah, and a shovel.
And a shovel.
That was
which we
pretty
got
cool.
a flyby.
Yeah.
And the younger gentleman, I wish I remember his name,
Yeah,
came by and did a flyby and threw the shovel out the window up here, and we're like,
and Justin got it on
I
film.
got it on film.
So
Yeah.
you'll see that we're sitting in the chair. He drops over. You see him
waving.
hang out, give us a wave, drop the shovel down. I'm like, that is awesome.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
And then on to his next route. He just looped through here on his way to some other camp, tossed it out, and made our day. Like, that was funny.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
so cool. And so now, we're in this big basin. So like our first, and again, everything with Alaska, I mean, Kyle from Outdoors International told me this before. You got to just, if you have a plan, it's probably going to change. You got to be able to go with the flow. And, we were expecting we were going to get dropped off up high on this spot, looking down, all this stuff.
Plan A was up high. Yep.
Was up high, and it's been hot. So the caribou have been staying up in the mountains a little bit, apparently. And we're like, okay, that was our expectations. And then all of a sudden we're dropped off in a creek bottom. But then you got to look at it from the other side. All right, now we have water with, 80 yards away from camp here.
Mm-hmm.
We can get up into the mountains. It's funny.
Yeah,
Brian,
right.
the pilot, drops us off, and he's like,
He's a man of few words,
yeah,
but he's very specific when he says things. Like, he is.
he's very intentional with
Yep.
his words. And he's like, yeah, the caribou probably going to be on this side, so watch over there. If you don't see any, you can hike up over that saddle, get on the other side. You guys look like you're in pretty good shape. Like,
All
Everybody
of us
told
kinda
us,
looked at
do
each
not
other.
hike 2 miles in this stuff. And Brian's first words are, just head up over the saddle.
that saddle's 2 miles.
The saddle's 2 miles, and we just start hunting at 2 miles.
Yeah.
Like, we're hunting from.
2 to 5 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Because you can see forever out here. I mean, that's 2 miles away, and you'd be able to spot a caribou up there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very easily.
And
But it was funny. He just threw every rule, even their first rule on their web pages, anticipate shooting something within 2 miles of camp. I
Yeah.
think it says something
It
like
does
that.
say don't go outside that chasing because they can move so fast and they're migrating if they're 5 miles away and you try to make a move on them. Because they feed at, what was it, like 10
30
miles an hour they feed
I
at?
thought something I saw like 30, but maybe that's walking speed is 30.
Yeah,
maybe it's 10.
I think they
yeah.
feed
you don't
at
walk
10.
at 30 miles an hour.
Listen,
Yeah, they feed at 10 miles an hour. So even if you're running after them in the tundra on a flat run, you'll still never catch them.
Yeah.
but he says, yeah, just hike up over there. I was like, okay,
Oh my god. Yeah. It's
no pack workout.
Yeah.
so it's funny. They can definitely still come through this valley.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
just saying that
We're
if you're
gonna see
not
him
finding
here.
him here, you guys are able to move and do things, which I thought was, pretty cool. So
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we didn't glass something up right from camp. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we can see a long
we got a bunch
I
of
just
different
been watching-
basins that run into this.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here looking, and you can look. I mean, it's so clear. 2 miles, about a mile and a half, and maybe about 2 miles up over there.
Probably further than that. That's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
3 or 4 miles that way.
Okay. Yeah, it probably is actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty far. But you can see up over the saddle pretty good, and if you just sit here and watch long enough, you'll be able to pick up the movement without your spotters. But it is super nice to have these because you can see a long ways out there.
Yeah, that's for sure. So basically, we got everything set up and expectations. Michael, what are your kind of expectations from the hunt? What you want to shoot, just all in general.
Normally, when I go out to these a western hunt, this is pretty, but like
An
if I go-
adventure style
an
hunt.
adventure style hunt. I want to get something that's a pretty good representation of what the species is. And normally, if I go mule deer hunting, I don't anticipate killing a mule deer, but I really anticipate seeing a mule deer and putting a stalk on and having the hunt of the animal, the elk, same thing. And then this one, I'm very hopeful that I can get my opportunities to shoot a caribou. So I brought my rifle, practiced long range, brought the stuff to be able to see long range, got ready with all of our gear so we can go after these animals. So I'm very hopeful to be able to put a good play on a caribou and have a good representation of the species, I'd like, a nice shovel, good long main beams, just something that has be like, that's a caribou.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Definitely. I think, and that's just about you about nailed it on the head. You and I are pretty in alignment with that. Like,
I'm not looking for a booner.
yeah, I'm not looking for the biggest. I mean, obviously, I'd love to have that.
we see one.
I'm not. Yeah, don't get me wrong there, but I want a good representation of a caribou. I want to take caribou meat back with me. I want to have the adventure. Already it's fulfilling that. Just being here, the flight in, the travel, all that's part of it. And then, just to be able to kill one of these animals and bring it back would be just incredible. If you guys from Pennsylvania and Minnesota to come out here and make it happen, it's just, it's out there for anyone, really.
This isn't, you could do this if you're a deer hunter, if you're a Pennsylvania deer hunter, you don't have to leave this camp.
Yeah.
Where we're at, you could so very easily have your caribou walking right through here, like no questions asked, guarantee they do. And it might not be the most tasking hunt in the world, but I wouldn't mind making it tasking just because that's what I'd like to do. And so I'm going to be up on that saddle one of these days, maybe tomorrow morning, who knows?
Yeah.
Like that, you can make it what you want.
Yeah.
You can definitely make it what you want here.
Yeah. And one thing we didn't mention is, so day one that we flew in, we can't hunt. So
Correct.
When you fly in, you got to wait till the next day. So was it 3:30? No, 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 a.m.
The following day, you're allowed to start hunting, which it gets first light around 3:30, which is crazy. There's only a few,
11 to 3:30.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like 20 hours of light.
Yeah,
Something like
it's
that.
something crazy right now. So, which is going to be long days. We're have to figure out how
It's
to sleep.
8:30 right now, and you guys, it is full light.
It feels like it's like 4:30 in the
Yeah,
afternoon back home right now.
It's 8:30. Mosquitoes are starting to pick up. That's the only difference I've noticed this evening.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's cooled down a little bit. It's been hot, and that's what they said the caribou don't like the heat. But it's been hot. We've had 3 different rainstorms so far. Quick, out of the way. They say with Alaska, things just change all the time.
We had that little bit of a thunderstorm there, a couple rain squalls, and now it's just actually getting pretty darn nice. We're hunkered down under this, but at any moment, any of these clouds could put rain on us. So
Yeah. This the Sika flash tarp's pretty nice, keeping the sun off you and everything else, and
we just set this up just I don't want to say makeshift, but just kind of toss it up, just kind of real quick, just to put something up over us, and we can get pretty creative with this. There's definitely some good options for this flash tarp.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's going to be great too, because like we were saying earlier, with how much you can glass out a camp. If we do have a day that it's significantly raining and we don't want to go for a big hike or whatever, we can see. You could spend the whole trip from right here if we wanted to. So
most definitely,
it'll be great to have that. If we have just a steady rain, we can sit under here and still be productive.
Yep, totally agree. Well, anything else that you guys kind of want to throw in on this first part here, or do you want to just kind of see how things play out?
Yeah, definitely see where this goes. Hopefully we have a couple more podcasts this trip, but maybe speaking on the hunt and the pursuit and see what happens. But a pretty good snippet of getting here.
Yeah, we can kind of glass tonight and see what we see, and kind of go tomorrow and kind of go from there.
Should be good.
Yeah. Next time you listen, we'll have caribou down.
That's right.
100%.
Hopefully.
100%. That's right.
Anyways, all right. Thanks, guys. We'll get another one here, maybe even tomorrow.
Sounds good.
See ya.
Sweet.